Every solution is just work more. Need more money? Get a second job. Still not enough? Start a side hustle. Still struggling? Monetize your hobbies. Need a better job? Go back to school. And maybe that's why so many people feel exhausted right now, is because every solution starts with working more, building more, or optimizing more, but then nobody can answer the bigger question, which is why does it take this much just to live a normal life?
What happened to us humans? When was the last time you guys were truly happy? Like, actually happy? Like, I just went through some old pictures and I'm like, what the happened? And then I saw, and it was literally COVID. Since COVID, the world's been shit. Anyone else agree with this?
There is a profound exhaustion settling over the country right now. You can feel it at the gas pump, in the grocery aisles, and in the quiet moments before clocking in. For decades, the American rule was simple. Put your head down, work hard, and you'll afford a decent life. But that contract has been quietly torn up. Millions of people are realizing that no matter how many hours they put in, the math simply doesn't work anymore. The cost of basic survival has outpaced wages so aggressively that a dangerous apathy is taking over. People aren't just tired, they are structurally depleted.
I'm a Gen Z and I am no longer passionate about anything. I've only been alive for less than 3 decades and I've already lost almost all will to live and passion and drive. Why? Because America and American capitalism has put lifestyle behind a paywall. America says that we the people are so burdened with human life that we must benefit from the existence of all of you people. So the least you all could do is be cogs in our machines, aka funnel money into billionaire businesses. So we'd find some of you worthy of keeping alive. That's why livable wage isn't easily accessible. We don't want all of you to stay alive. We don't it's a lot of y'all. It's too many of y'all. It's just enough that it's enough to keep us rich, but it's too many for us to have to care about all of y'all, because all of y'all aren't billionaires. All of y'all aren't even millionaires. Most of y'all aren't even middle class. I think that's what pisses me off the most about the political state of America, is that I want them to just straight up say hey, we're evil. Hey, the reason why everything's so expensive is because we don't want y'all to be able to afford to stay alive. We're even increasing the price of sustenance, like food and shelter, because we don't want y'all to stay alive. We've literally made it illegal to be homeless because we want y'all to yourselves. We don't want y'all to stay alive. Please stop asking us to make everything affordable. We want y'all to starve to. I want them to just say that, because this game of bootstraps, lazy, entitled Gen Z, or the way older generations refuse to take any accountability for the life that Gen Z now has to live, and will instead jump through hoops to gaslight millennials and Gen Z into being actually, you all have it way easier than we did. So we have no idea what y'all are complaining about. When I was your age, I paid off my house and my car just being the milkman. Y'all just refused to go get jobs. Oh, jobs don't pay a livable.
I think it's time we address the great shift of 2021. Back in 2021, society just stopped caring. It wasn't this dramatic collapse of society, but everyone just kind of looked around and went, yeah, you know what? I think that's about enough, huh? You can see it everywhere. Customer service, gone. No one even pretends anymore. You call a company, the automated voice doesn't even give a shit. It's thank you for calling. All representatives are currently busy vaping behind the building. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, please hang up and call someone who cares. Restaurants don't care anymore. The menu's on your phone, you order on your phone. Some kid who escaped a genocide 2 weeks ago brings you your food. Then you pay on your phone, and then it gives you an option for tipping. You're like, who am I tipping? I haven't interacted with anybody. The kids speak in TikTok now. It's ridiculous. You can't understand a word they're saying. You're like, so, how's work going? It's cooked. My manager's tweaking. He's constantly aura farming. Valid crash outs, but I'm standing on business. And I'm low Kirk about to get fired. But honestly, lore. I hate you. But honestly, I'd rather those kids than the ones that are dressed like the bullies in Back to the Future 2. You say good morning to one of them, they just stare at you. Kid like legitimately thinks he's like a fox or some shit. Beyond shot. Hotels are checked out. Remember back in the day, hotels would clean your room daily. Last hotel I stayed at, my wife comes in the room. She goes, oh great, they cleaned the room today. I'm like, this used to happen every day. Am I crazy? Was that not assumed? It used to be automatic, daily. Housekeeping comes and cleans the room. Now it's just like whenever the hell they feel like it. Hollywood's given up. Every movie is just Zendaya or Timothy Chalamet or both. And it's either a remake or a reboot or a sequel or a prequel. Nothing new, nothing innovative, nothing creative. Remember when the best, biggest studios in the world made good movies? Like I'm just saying, we used to build railroads through mountains. Now, what are we making? Ghostbusters 6. It's pathetic. Anyway, it's all crumbling.
I sit in my car every day after work, exhausted. I am 57 years old. When is it going to end? I'm tired of working. Everything is just getting more expensive. I'm over this life. I want to sell it all and move to an island.
We can't keep doing this. Last night I went to the grocery store. 2 bags of groceries. $72. This morning I stopped and filled up my tank. $60. I just put gas in it 2 days ago. I do drive a little bit to work, but no matter what you do, you got nothing. No matter how hard you work, no matter how early you go in, no matter how much you make, you got nothing. At the end of the week, you got nothing. Can't afford a house. Can't afford food. Can't afford utilities. Every time you go to the store, a bag of chips is like $6 or $7. A loaf of bread, $5. Gallon of milk, $5. The only thing that's cheap is a dozen eggs. I've been thinking about living off eggs. Have an egg for breakfast, have a hard-boiled egg for lunch, and have a omelet with no cheese for dinner. It seems like everybody in the world has nothing. But why are the people in government so rich? I heard a theory the other day, and they said that, what if everybody in government made minimum wage for a year? Would things change? I don't know. They probably suffer for a year, but then they probably go right back to being the same way they were before. Nobody's got nothing. Elderly got nothing. You see old people at the gas station trying to buy gas, and you can see it in their eyes. They got nothing. Young kids just out of college, they got nothing. You can't afford a house. Everybody's got nothing. And it's not cool anymore. It's never been cool, but everyone's at the end of their rope. I'm at the end of my rope. I don't know what to do. No matter what you do, no matter how much you make, it's not enough because you still got nothing.
I don't care how nothing gets paid. I'm going to go get my nails fixed. I'm going to take my stepdaughter over to an adventure park to celebrate her 15th birthday that we didn't get to celebrate yet. I don't care. I don't care anymore. To continue to work hard, to sweat, to cry, to be angry, just to afford to live. I'm not doing it no more. I don't care how the lights get paid. I don't care how nothing gets paid. I'm not doing it no more. You know it's bad when you're borrowing money from Cash App.
I didn't know that was
And a lot of us are doing that. We all fixing to end up in civil court over Cash App. Borrow limit. Afterpay. And then people tell you half favor is going to get better. No, it's not. It's going to get worse. If you don't know the word, then just say that. A lot of us have been struggling like this all of our lives. And to know that it's going to get worse is like, damn. We ain't going to ever be able to enjoy it. Especially when you've been struggling all your life. Just to find out it's fixing to get worse. So I'm going to make it better for me in the moment. I can't afford to do anything else. If we don't do something for ourselves just to keep ourselves sane, we're going to go crazy, and I refuse. After everything that I've been through in life, to allow the devil to make me go crazy because of some shit that's out of our control.
Oh, you had a midlife crisis? That's cool. I'm a millennial. I didn't get one of those. I have never once experienced a period of stability long enough to interrupt. I watched the Twin Towers fall on a TV that my elementary school teacher wheeled into our classroom. And then that kicked off a 20-year war with the Middle East. And I graduated into the worst economic recession since the Great Depression, the 2008 financial crisis, caused by boomers that spent the 80s and 90s deregulating the banking industry, then veered directly into the wreckage with a degree that we were told we had to get, and student loan debt into a job market that actively was not hiring. And then when the economy did finally start to stabilize, we got hit with a global pandemic, which exposed every crack in the system, from healthcare and housing to employment and mental health. All of it broke at once. And on the other side of that, the housing market became completely unaffordable. And it's not because we were buying avocado toast or iced coffee. It's because the average home price has outpaced wage growth by 300% since the boomers were buying. So they bought homes for like 60 grand and then watched them appreciate to over $500,000. Now they're sitting on half the country's wealth while telling us we just need to work harder. And now, war with Iran and $5 gas. Social Security projected to run out before most of us retire. A system, by the way, that boomers have been drawing from for years and that we've been paying into our whole careers, but will likely never see a dime of. The audacity to look at us and say, your generation just doesn't want to work. We have been working our whole lives. We've been working hard to survive in the economy you built. We've been in crisis the whole time. So
nobody talks about how exhausting it starts to feel to even just leave the house. Not even because you don't want to, but because your nervous system has been on for too long, that being out in the world just starts to feel draining. The noise, the stimulation, the unpredictability. It's like somebody turned the energy faucet on and forgot to plug the drain. The energy it takes to respond, to move, to simply interact. Eventually, your body starts resisting it altogether. So staying home starts to feel easier or safer, much less overwhelming. The more overwhelmed your nervous system becomes, the smaller your comfort zone gets. That's why healing isn't just making yourself go out more. It's teaching your body that being present in the world doesn't have to feel so exhausting all the time. And honestly, I think a lot more people are dealing with this than they realize.
When do you think they'll get it? When do you think they're going to understand that people cannot afford the lives that they want? They can't afford the children. The generations will continue to get smaller. People will continue having fewer children. When do you think that's going to happen? Like, it's not a matter of, oh, well, it's just like a minor dip. It's a matter of the fact that people can barely make it work on their own. Or if you're in a situation like myself, I'm finally making really good money. I'm not going to immediately funnel that to a freaking kid. No, absolutely not. And yet the cost of living is still insane. Inflation's still insane. Housing, still insane. And it's like they just think that they can continue to escalate on every front and everyone's still going to comply. Like, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to collapse. Like, I just don't understand why this is all coming as a surprise for them. They just think they can squeeze more and more and more. Everyone's increasing their prices on every front and saying, why isn't anyone having children? Gee, I wonder.
I just watched a TikTok asking the question of what is going to happen when the average American can no longer afford to live in this country. And a lot of the comments were saying, oh, we'll just move to Europe or move to another country or something like that. And, pretty much saying that they'll rescind their citizenship and move somewhere else, which in a perfect world, that's a good idea. You know what I'm saying? If you can make US dollars while living in another country, or finding a place that just doesn't really require as much bullshit as this country does to live, then yeah, I'm all for it. But I think, and I've had this theory for a while, I think it's going to take a different turn. Once it gets to the point where the average American can no longer afford to live with basic essentials, can't afford groceries, can't afford housing, things like that, I think that corporations are going to take over. I really think that there are plans in place to establish corporate housing and pretty much just living in a company issued pod like Idiocracy or Ready Player One, where you live there as long as you're working at that job and everything is provided by the company, nothing is yours, and you'll just be happy with it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the direction that we're going in. I know that there are corporations out there that have been implementing this. They've been buying properties, and I think that that's what they're getting ready for is, that type of scenario if nothing changes. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that we as a society, especially my generation, we're kind of left holding the bag. We've been conditioned to be complacent. We've been conditioned to be comfortable as long as we have, our little paychecks, as long as we have Netflix and our little car to go to work with CarPlay, and you have that little bar that's nearby to go get drinks with your buddies. As long as we have all those little creature comforts, we're not going to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Other countries have burned their cities down for much less than what we tolerate. And our forefathers have also burned their cities down for much, much less than what we tolerate. So I think that that's the direction that we're going in. I feel that capitalism as a whole has just overtaken every nook and cranny, every crevice of American society. Everywhere you turn, somebody's trying to bleed you fucking dry. You know what I'm saying? Why is a gordita crunch from Taco Bell by itself almost $6, where you can get their big box with a combo and a drink for the same price? It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that it's just bottom line trying to expand that margin while paying as little as possible to the people who make it happen, those means of production. And what's also sad to see is there are people who advocate for these corporations and say, why should they pay you a livable wage? Why do you feel entitled to luxury? And they think that a living wage is a luxury and a privilege. You know what I'm saying? And, well, learn a valuable skill. I did, so you should. I paid my house off, but they failed to mention that they live in bumfuck Kentucky, where the cost of living is fucking minimum wage, and their houses start at $60,000 for a fucking single wide. You know what I'm saying? They fail to tell you that. They fail to tell you that they're privileged in their life, that their parents helped them buy a house, that their spouse makes good money, that they're a dual income household. Not everybody's living like that. And a lot of the places where folks want to live, not your bumfuck town, it's going to cost money. You got to pay to play. You know what I'm saying? And people can't just uproot and take a risk and move to a small town hoping that they're going to find a good job within 50 miles of said town. You know what I'm saying? I'm very privileged with my job. I work 100% remote. I can live anywhere in the country as long as there's good internet, and I can make the same salary. And I'm blessed enough to be able to make a little bit over six figures with a little bit of overtime and bonuses. But I still empathize with people who are struggling because I have family members who don't make as much as I do. And they have children who are just starting out in the world, and they're not going to make anywhere near what I'm making starting out as young adults. And they're just going to have to figure it out. And I understand that nobody's coming to help you. Nobody's coming to save you. But you should also learn to empathize with your neighbor, because God forbid something happens to you where you got to start over, or you get fired from your job, or your trade is no longer essential. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel that paying other employed full-time workers a livable wage is an insult to you, maybe it's because you're also underpaid. You know what I'm saying? So a little empathy goes a long way. And these types of posts always bring out these fucking corporate bots who support and advocate for exploitation. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not going to fall for it. Okay. You're just a fucking bot at some bot farm in China or fucking Israel, and you're just trying to agitate. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think society's going. If we remain complacent, we know what needs to be done, but we are not unified enough to take that kind of stand. Like I said, other countries have burned their cities down for much less.
What we are witnessing isn't just a bad economic quarter, it is a fundamental breakdown of incentive. When a bag of groceries costs $70 and a modest home feels like a luxury item, the very motivation to participate in the economy evaporates. You heard it in these voices. People aren't asking for mansions. They are begging for a baseline of stability. Yet, the corporate response is to squeeze even harder, pushing profit margins to record highs while everyday workers rely on cash advances just to keep the lights on. It's no wonder we are seeing a massive psychological shift. When the reward for relentless labor is simply more debt and deeper fatigue, opting out stops looking like laziness and starts looking like the only rational response left. I want to hear from you. Have you found yourself stepping back or caring less about your job simply because the cost of living has made getting ahead feel impossible? Let me know your reality down in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.